never forget every night that I was at that house for a week, I cried myself to sleep. Not out of sadness or anything, but out of joy, feeling like, God, could this really be it? Like, could you really be calling me to this? It's craziness. My name is Sister Liz, and I'm a daughter of Charity at St. Vincent de Paul. The seeds of my vocation really came from my parents, who taught us how to pray, who brought us to church, and who were so faithful and loving that it really helped me to learn what it means to be a follower of Christ. I really, up until I was in college, had no thoughts of becoming a sister at all. I mean, my most experience was with Sister Act or The Sound of Music. That's what I thought nuns were like. When I was in college, I met the community that I now belong to, the Daughters of Charity, and we went on a service project through campus ministry, and they brought us to Baltimore, and we stayed with the sisters and were involved in their ministry for just a weekend, just a couple days. And it was one of those things where I really felt like everything inside of me, or everything that I had lived up into that point, had brought me there. The sisters and the way they were, it was just like I connected with them so unbelievably that I really just wanted to be around them more often. That was the first thing for me. It wasn't that I necessarily wanted to be one, but that I wanted to do service the way that they did service. And then continuing to get to know the community and to pray for myself and getting to know Christ more. It kind of went from, do I want to be one, or do I just like them? And it's this back and forth of, God, what do you want from me? I realized more and more that being a sister and joining this community was going to bring me happiness and peace and tranquility and all those things in life that my heart really desired in the first place. And I didn't even know that that was what I wanted until I saw it. At first it was kind of like, I don't know, Lord, if this is what you want. That's a little scary, but I'm gonna try it out and see what happens. And I think for me, until I did that, I would never have known. I'll never forget one experience I had of service with the sisters. They took us here to Emmitsburg, and we visited a man on the mountain who basically lived in a trailer. He had his little mini trailer, and he had this kind of school bus that was filled with different things from his life, and his name was Richard, and we brought him food, we brought him eggs and milk and bread, and he allowed a couple of us from the college to go into his trailer and to make him an egg sandwich. And I'll just never forget the humility that it took for him to let us give to him, to allow us to come into his space. And several years later, after coming to the community and after becoming a novice and so on, I was walking around our property here in Emmitsburg and found a grave, and Richard Christ was on the grave. And I realized that man that I had met years before in discernment, he didn't have anybody in the world but the sisters. And the sisters, the community let him be buried on our property. And it came full circle for me in that moment to realize that this was the community I joined. I joined a community that loves the poor so much that we would do anything. We treat them as our family, as our brothers and sisters. It's not just, brothers and sisters in Christ, but it's real. It's something that means something. And since then, it's been one wonderful experience of Christ after another. Not that it's not hard. Things are hard about life always, in any life that you choose, but I need to be faithful. I need to realize that Christ is everything. I would do anything for him, and I just thank God every day that I've joined a community that really wants to serve the poor in whatever way and whatever form that takes. And I haven't looked back. and I'm the most happy, I'm the most joyful, I'm the most at peace that I could ever be, because I'm doing what the Lord wants and has called me to do.
Hi, I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. Welcome to the Catholic Corner. You've just met a beautiful young sister, our guest today, Sister Liz. Sister Elizabeth Sjoberg is a daughter of Charity St. Vincent de Paul. Sister Liz is a campus ministry associate at Mount St. Mary's University at Emmitsburg, Maryland. She's going to share with us about her call to religious life, a great ministry with the young people on the campus of Mount St. Mary's, and especially her work with the poor. Sister Liz, welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
It's so nice to have you. Wow, that was so inspiring, seeing that wonderful smile of yours as you were discussing your call to religious life. Tell me a little bit about that video. Who produced it? Why?
Sure.
I mean, it's so wonderful.
Yeah. Two of our students at Mount St. Mary's worked on this video, Gary Gause and Jen Nicholson, and they just had this little mini series called My Soul Proclaims, which was featuring the different vocations. And so mine was one of them. They had interviewed a deacon from our seminary at Mount St. Mary's, and they had a married couple as well. So you know, they did the taping, and Gary's really into doing the video editing and stuff like that. And as you can see, I mean, very powerful experience for everybody. And they've done several videos for Mount St. Mary's for the university, as well as just a few different fun things in addition to that. And I was just really blessed by it. We're blessed to have them and to have some great and talented students at the university.
They're students now.
Jen graduated, and Gary is a senior this year. And I know that he definitely wants to continue in that work in one way or another. And I'm sure he's going to get some great offers out there.
Call us.
Yeah.
Boy,
I'm sure he'd love to do some stuff.
It is.
So.
And now, why did they do the series? What was it for? I mean, just for the fun of it, or did they?
As sort of almost like a
show?
Side project that they were interested in doing and highlighting the different vocations out there. And as you could tell, like they're very into engaging and interesting kind of video cuts and ways of doing it to engage people, and especially young people. And so it is just, there's vocation videos, and then there's vocation videos like that where it's highly engaging and just really like this next level of video production. So
your religious order actually uses that video in part of their productions.
Yeah, we do. And we have several different videos that have been coming out. So it's been a blessing to us. And you know, who knows? It's like the work here. You have no idea how it's reaching people, but that, you know, you see people come out of the woodworks because of it.
But we know that it reaches people.
Right.
You know, you might not get 100 young ladies joining you, but on the other hand, you're getting thousands of people who say, "Wow, those young ladies are really interesting, wonderful people, happy people, joyful people."
Yeah, and I think the key is really to highlight the prayer and the following the will of God. It doesn't matter whether people become priests and nuns is up to the Lord, not up to us. But teaching people to pray and seeing the different vocations as an option, I think is really important.
I've always thought, I say this to people, if you do what God wants you to do, or you think that's what God wants you to do, you're going to be very happy.
Yeah. It's
almost as simple as that. I used to even tell kids in grammar school, high school, pray. Ask them, what do you want me to do? And and that's the way it's going to come out, and that's where the joy, I think, is. How about I know you're the daughters of Charity are such wonderful, wonderful people. Admire your work. Tell us about it some more, though, because I maybe some folks don't really know the background and how.
Well, our community was founded in 1633 by St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louise de Marillac. People might be familiar with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, which is in many parishes throughout the United States and the world. But Vincent and Louise began our community really to be out in the streets and serve the poor. At that point, there were no sisters out working in apostolic ministries. They were all cloistered communities. And so this was a time in the church it was really revolutionary to have sisters living together and then also being out and carrying the soup pots and getting the children and helping out in so many different ways. And so it's fantastic to kind of learn more about the history of the community. And now, we're 19,000 throughout the world and in 91 countries, and it's a huge blessing. It's almost like I can, you can name a country and I could say, well, we have sisters there, and they're doing such good work. And to feel that connection with the international community and knowing that so many needs throughout the world are being addressed by our sisters, it's incredible. And I'm humbled every time just thinking about the fact that I'm here and grateful to God, because I know I don't deserve it. He's just doing the work. And so I pray for that faithfulness,
I sometimes I just want to shout it out even more. I kind of think I feel what you feel.
Yeah.
It's you go back a couple hundred years and to see the work that's been done by men, women, faith, taking care of children, and I know lots of folks around the world do it in many different ways.
Yeah.
But we certainly have done an awful lot, I think. And when he says, you fed me and you clothed me, yeah, Lord, okay, and we'll just keep doing it somehow, brother. Just keep asking us. And
that's right.
It's a great thing. I know you love your vocation. I know you love your call by Jesus, and you love being with the sisters. What's special about the love, if I can? How would you pinpoint that love?
I think what has drawn me to the community and still just enlivens me is our spirit of the service of Christ in those who are poor. And it's one of those things where as a young person, I love doing service, but to see the connection between service and faith and say, like, Jesus Christ is in that person. And not only is it like the right thing to do, so to speak, and it's just, and it makes me happy and fulfills me, but it's a call by God to serve those in need. And as I was discerning and trying to figure out, like, Lord, what is it? What do you want from me? I knew that there was something about these sisters and this community that really drew me, and it's really unique. It was unique then, and it's still unique now. We do, our 3 vows: poverty, chastity, and obedience, and then our 4th vow is to the service of the poor, and it's awesome. I mean, that's just what it is. It's fantastic, and it really spoke to me as a young person, and I knew that I wanted to do service in some way, but I didn't know that it was going to be my life, and I'm happy it is. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
You can't go to the store and buy that joy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't go and say, give me $10 worth of this joy.
Right.
It's there because it's there when somebody looks at you and says thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times when people, that might be their last words sometimes. Or maybe it's the beginning of a new life for them in some way, or a new hope for them. Mm-hmm. It's just tremendous. Tell me, other areas that other sisters involved in?
Sure. Really, wherever there are people in need, the Daughters of Charity will be there. I often think of like what I would call the big 3 of healthcare, education, and social work or social ministry. But we also have sisters who work in parishes, working with immigrants or as missionaries overseas. I'm blessed to be doing campus ministry work, which is beautiful, and kind of the formation of young people. And so basically, like, wherever it is the need is, we will try to send sisters there. And I'm blessed to live with 6 other sisters right now, and a couple of teachers, the archivist, myself, and then there's social worker there too, and it's just it's beautiful, and I see what they do, and it inspires me because we have the same spirit, and we come back and you can come home and say, like, this is how I saw Christ today, or this is the challenge that I had today, and here's what I'm going through. And that support that we have in community is really unparalleled. It's so beautiful.
A family within your family or outside of your own personal family. It's
right, and it's a bond that goes beyond just people who are roommates or people who just live in the same house. We really build on that and work together and pray together. Really, I think is the key to our community life.
Lots of stories, I bet, around the meal times.
Right, and
Lots of laughter.
We live connected to an elementary school, and so it's unbelievable the stories that come back from there. It's just the kids are so fun and beautiful there.
You get a chance sometimes to talk to other young women that are maybe interested in. I listen, your vocation. Sometimes it happens to us. You don't expect it, and you don't think of it, but yet sometimes it happens even earlier in life. Do some of the young ladies come and talk to you about?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like for me, it's about building relationships. I'm not. I tell the students sometimes, I'm not on campus to recruit anybody. Like would I like there to be Daughters of Charity from this campus? Sure, but it's about what God is calling them to do. And if I can, one of my greatest privileges of being on campus is that people allow me to be a part of their lives in some way. And they tell me about their prayer or what they're struggling with or what they're going through. And, the ones that are thinking about religious life, they feel free that they can come and talk to me, or, the many seminarians that we have on campus as well, just to kind of talk about where is God in that and what they're going through, so that, they know they're not alone. And I think for me and my own discernment, it was helpful to feel that and to know, like, I'm not alone in it, and there are other people who are thinking about it too. And that's the bonus of having discernment experiences or retreat weekends or things like that, where people can kind of get together and say, what are you thinking, or how are you feeling, and how does that connect with what I'm going through?
I think it's a great revelation when you're younger to think that, there are others that have the same thoughts I do.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice feeling to know that.
It gives you the freedom, really, to toy with it, or to put it on the shelf or take it off the shelf, so to speak. It's great.
The joy of being a daughter. What's the best part of it for you, or is it all it's all one in a sense, or are there parts that, like, say, going out and being with the poor?
I really love concrete things where I can go. There's a lady I visit in Emmitsburg. She's a shut-in, and I can go, and if she needs something and I can do it, I'll make it happen for her. And to say, here, not only here is like a food voucher, or here's some food that I was able to bring you, but like, I want to bring Christ to her. And ideally that's happening. That's one of the things you don't often see the fruits sometimes of that. But those little moments when people say, you really touched my life, or, you really made me think about that, or whatever it is. And I can say, well, if I hear that, great. If I don't, like, I just trust that God is doing something in people's lives.
Sister, how long now have you been a professed sister and this campus ministry? Is this your first assignment?
This is my first
It's
assignment.
your first assignment?
Yes, it's my first mission. I've been
the first assignment is always the one that stays always in your heart, I'll tell you that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We count our vocation date from when we go to our novitiate. So it has been 4 years. I turned 4 in August. And we can make vows at 5 years, between 5 and 7 years vocation. So I have a little ways to go before I make vows, but I'm very excited about it.
You'll be in my heart and my prayer now too.
Please do.
And I'm sure many others. As a campus minister, there's loads and loads of our young people going to college, and they're away from home, or some maybe are not that far from home. Right. Tell me, it's like another world, I think, when you step into that campus.
It is.
Some of it's so easy, and some of it's not so easy. What do you do as a campus minister?
I do a lot of different things. Part of my ministry is vocation awareness events, so that includes some religious life, working with priesthood too, and bringing in married couples to talk. And I also do some service work. We host some high school retreats and conferences and events at Mount St. Mary's, and I help run those, and some of the students are on teams and preparation for those things. And so I kind of like do a catch-all, and it's awesome. But one of my favorite parts about working in campus ministry is is being in the office or going to coffee with students or having lunch. You know, it's those times when you really can have that one-on-one conversation, or even if it's a small group, to talk about what's really going on in their lives. And I'm continually amazed at the sufferings that a lot of our students go through, you know, whether that's, you know, depression and eating disorders or family problems. People are carrying around a lot of burdens and stuff, and I think, you know, and I even say this to them, like, just come to the office and just, even if you just spurt it all out or just sit on the couch and cry, like whatever it is people need, and if I can help and provide that safe space for them, that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully, I mean, I hope that in me they can find someone who can listen to them and offer whatever advice I can or help in any way.
It's a big trust. It's a big trust they come to you with.
Yeah. It's a privilege, and it's humbling to me to be a part of their lives in that way. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen today, Lord, but here we go. And it's really Him doing the work and me trying to pray and be a person of integrity there. And
I think it's nice to let the young people, because I just respect and admire our young people today. But sometimes, as you said, they need to walk with somebody to the next. It's not always easy for them. And yet there's a big world out there and lots of great people and lots of great things to do, and a great God who created it all and wants us to bring it to another place. So I think what you're doing is just terrific, sister.
Yeah, thank you.
The poor. I mean, we're all poor, I think, you know, if we at least admit we're all poor.
Right.
You know, just listening to you with the story about Richard and being buried, you know, on the sister's turf, so to speak.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the poor? Just was it a natural attraction, or was there something there that you said, I identify with them?
I think for me, I've always kind of been a person where I want to find the underdog, you know, like the person who maybe doesn't fit in as well with the crowd or whatever. It really, my parents were so good in my family to raise us with that idea of we need to be people of service. We need to, you know, help where we can, even if it's just monetarily, but, you know, obviously with our time as well. And so that was kind of instilled in me to begin with, which I'm so obviously grateful for. Shout out to Mom and Dad for that. But, you know, going through high school and doing different service projects and stuff, it helped to kind of build that attitude in me. Obviously, everybody has different ways of service or motivations. And I think for sometimes it was fun, you know, friends were doing it and I would too, or, you know, you do it for the feeling that you might get from it, you know, the great feeling of joy and gladness, but also in the end, like the reason, and I hope my motivation always is because of the gospel, the call of Christ to serve, you know, whenever you did it to the least, you did it to me. And, you know, I saw the example of the sisters doing that. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to come and assist you, or I'm going to come down from my, you know, throne and give you what I already have, you know. It was, for us, it's always the attitude of we're as a servant. And St. Vincent always said, you know, they are our lords and masters, which means, you know, we're to serve them. And it's almost like we're giving back something that was taken, you know. And whether that's, you know, material goods that we help, or if it's the spiritual things that we may say or the attitudes that we have. It's so important, and, you know, I just thank God every day that I can do it, and that I'm in this community to be able to do so. It's great.
You know, I keep thinking when you were talking about my own mother, just constantly how many times she ever said this, you know, there but for the grace of God.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're all brothers and sisters, and we all have a story. And someone once told me that every one of us has a story, and every one of us is a story about God. And I think that's exactly what I hear you saying in your own love and work. It's so wonderful. What's we're Christian, we're Catholic Christian. Why is it so important that we all reach out to people, whether we're sister, priest, mom, dad, kids? I mean, what's so important about that? That's got like the essence, I think, of who we are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in the end, we're all trying to get to heaven, like for the grace of God to get there, and it's not only just like part of our Christian life. Like service is an absolute essential for us as Christians. It's that whole love of God and love of neighbor thing that people talk about. And you try to do the service not only to help others, because that's important and just and the right thing, but even for our own sanctification, and to say, like, the world doesn't revolve around me, like it isn't, I'm not the most important person, even though sometimes I may act that way. We're all trying to help each other, and some people, for whatever reason, have a lot more suffering than others, and the gifts and the graces that I've received are not just for me, they're for everyone. And so let's put that to work and do the best we can, so we can all move in the same direction.
But I hear you saying that not everybody can go on mission trips, not everybody has a call to religious life, but we all have a call to be Christian to each other.
Right, exactly. And there's so many examples of that all over, even if it's from our parents or neighbors or what have you. And they inspire me and call me to better, behavior, and to do the best I can with a pure heart.
I guess that's one of the great gifts of the covenant of marriage, even, is to take that covenant and pass it down to their own generations, and let that covenant keep growing. Sister, I know you're a beautiful person of prayer, and what's one or two of your favorite scriptures that allow yourself to be embedded in this beautiful gift of yours?
One of my favorites is from 1 John, and it says, see what love the Father has for us, that we might be called children of God, for that is what we are. And I think, to me, it speaks of the great overabundance and greatness of God's love
creation
for
and
us.
blessing. Sister, thank you so very much.
It's awesome.
The Catholic Corner, Sister Liz, oh my gosh, what a beautiful smile and a beautiful person in her heart. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, www.christliturgies.
Christ urges us.
christurgesus.org. christurgesus.org.
Yep.
Sister, thanks a million.
Thanks so much.
Bless you
God
now.
bless.